This is News 8 Now, this morning.
It's always a good idea to mentor with somebody who has been snowmobiling for a long time. Kind of learn the ropes and get some experience out there with them, and then you can operate on the trails a lot safer.
Forecast from last night that included freezing rain had actually materialized. We would have been unable to issue the runways being slippery to pilots, and that's a big concern.
We're hoping for positive feedback, but we're hoping for all kinds of comments and feedback on what the community wants to see.
We're a lucky community with a lot of different areas that support our school district. It's one village that works together to help the needs of all kids.
And that was your eye opener. Good morning, everybody, and thanks for watching News 8 Now this morning. I'm Ken Kozarowski, and that's Eric Dean. It is Thursday, January 12th of 2023, just past 6 a.m. Eric, we had a lot of sunshine yesterday. It was pretty cool, but First Warn Weather app showing we're in for more cloud cover today.
Right, we will stay cloudy throughout the day. The good news, Ken, what a difference 24 hours makes. Remember this camera yesterday? Oh, yeah. It was just jam-packed on the interstate there. Today, traffic is moving very smooth, so there's some good news there. Take a look here now at the past several hours. We've been hovering right around 34, 35 degrees. Since midnight, we reached our high. Our high is going to be 35, so we'll see the temperatures fall throughout the day. 35 is where we are right now. It feels like 27 out there with winds out of the north-northwest at 10 miles per hour. Our dew point is sitting at 30. Other temperatures across the area, Preston's at 28, otherwise 30s from Ladysmith down to Prairie du Chien over towards Boscobel, Volkfield. Good morning to you guys. You're at 33 degrees, and with the wind starting to pick up just a little bit, we keep that north-northwesterly flow in play. That feels like temperature. Yeah, it's in the teens and 20s. 18s your feels like temperature in Preston, 27 La Crosse, Double Deuces, 22 in Winona, 25 in Eau Claire, 24 in Ladysmith. So here's a Got Your Bus Stop forecast for today. As you get the kiddos ready to school, we'll see temperatures right around 33 degrees with cloudy skies. As we head into the afternoon hours, we'll see that temperature of 30 degrees. I have your complete First Warn forecast coming up in a few minutes. Mr. Kozarowski, over to you, buddy.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Dean.
You bet.
On the news front this morning, the FAA is still searching for answers after a crucial system outage forced a nationwide ground stop. Wednesday morning, a safety system that communicates with pilots went completely down, leaving travelers and flights stranded for hours. More than 8,000 flights going into or out of the U.S. ended up being delayed. The FAA says it's also still working to understand why backup systems failed. The White House and the FAA both say there's currently no evidence that this was a cyber attack. Canadian Air Traffic Control suffered a similar outage yesterday. Officials say they don't believe the two incidents were related. Now, the outage delayed flights at the La Crosse Regional Airport as well. The 6 a.m. American Airlines flight to Chicago left 2 hours late. Airport Director Ian Turner says there was no way around it. Flight crews used that system that was down to learn about and share important safety information.
Forecast from last night that included freezing rain had actually materialized. We would have been unable to issue the runways being slippery to pilots, and that's a big concern.
Now, Turner hopes there won't be any more local disruptions, but he encourages passengers to check with their airlines before heading to the airport. The roads in Monroe County are back open after freezing rain Wednesday morning led to an interstate closure. According to Monroe County Sheriff's Office, first responders were called to at least 11 vehicle slide-offs and 12 crashes, one with minor injuries. The Sheriff's Office says some of the vehicles are still on the side of the road, and they will be towed over the next few days. Demolition is underway along La Crosse's South Avenue to make way for some construction projects. Beginning Wednesday, South Avenue got down to one lane in both directions between Green Bay Street and Ward Avenue. The DOT is warning nearby residents and businesses there will be loud noises and dust. This project will add 3 roundabouts along South Ave, and it is scheduled to wrap up in the fall. La Crosse County is another step closer to hiring its county administrator. The La Crosse County Executive Committee voted unanimously to offer Jane Claycamp a contract.
Now therefore be it resolved that Jane Claycamp be appointed by the county board as county administrator as of this date.
Now the caveat here, Claycamp still needs to accept and sign the contract. She's been acting as interim administrator for the past 6 months. For the first time, we are seeing the proposed additions to La Crosse's Kids Cooley Playground. The Parks Department released the blueprint Wednesday night at a public input session. The playground, located in Myrick Park, is roughly 25 years old. Last year, after receiving public feedback, the city decided to update the current playground. And this year it plans to add new features. The proposal includes zip lines, in-ground slides, climbing structures, and a shade canopy.
We're hoping for positive feedback, but we're hoping for all kind of comments and feedback on what they, what the community wants to see.
Now, Wednesday night's meeting was the only public input session the city has planned, so if you didn't make it, you can still call or email your comments to the Parks Department this week. Kids in Hopkins, Minnesota, meanwhile, stepped up and raised $300,000 for a wheelchair-accessible playground. Along with other donations, the principal there announced that an anonymous donor stepped in, donating $200,000 toward that playground.
I feel loved in a sense that I know that I am going to have fun for the rest of my days in this school.
The kids are planning to keep fundraising to build a full playground, which could cost up to $1 million. La Crosse city planners are closing out the first phase of the Forward La Crosse initiative. The city got input from the public on things like housing, transportation, and economic development. 6.3% of the city's population responded, which is more than in most cities La Crosse's size, actually. And that feedback will help plan the next few decades of work.
What we're really going to be doing with this information is develop themes and start developing goals and strategies and objectives, and then whose responsibility it is to make sure that we address over the next 10, 15, 20 years.
And as they move into phase 2 of the project, city planners still want public input. You can go to forwardlacrosse.org to learn more about the campaign and take surveys about what you want to see in the city's future. Every once in a while, we hear about people doing random acts of kindness. Well, the West Salem School District has a Random Acts of Kindness account to support its students year-round. And on Wednesday night, West Salem firefighters got behind the bar at the Westview Inn to help out. They are donating all of their tips to the district's fund. And the money is used by school counselors to buy things students need that their families can't afford. Counselors say they're grateful the community is willing to contribute.
We're a lucky community with a lot of different areas that support our school district. It's one village that works together to help the needs of all kids.
This year, they've raised $1,200 for the Random Acts of Kindness Fund. It is now 6:07 a.m. on this Thursday. Still ahead on your morning news, fan favorite Sierra Mist being replaced by a new product. We'll explain why and how school lunch prices are crippling families nationwide and locally. That story and more still to come after the break. For now, we're sending you to break with something to put the good, or maybe the tasty, in your morning. Pizza Hut is bringing back the supersized pizza. 25 years later, Pizza Hut bringing back the Big New Yorker, a huge pizza from back in the 90s that was a fan favorite. Customers will be able to order the 16-inch pizza starting next month. Now, the Big New Yorker is 30% bigger than your average large and has 6 oversized foldable slices. I'm salivating already. Pizza Hut will only be selling the Big New Yorker for a limited time. Don't go anywhere. More News 8 Now this morning is still to come after the break.
Take a look outside right now. We have cloudy skies. Nothing to talk about on the radar. It's a clean sweep across the area. Right now we're sitting at 35. It feels like 27 out there. Our dew point's at 30, so the visibility just a little bit affected out there. 8 miles in La Crosse. Winds are out of the north-northwest at 10 miles per hour. With the exception of Preston at 28, we're seeing temperatures in the 30s from top to bottom. And with that wind starting to pick up and it's out of the northwest, that feels like temperature is going to be in the 20s. Now, we reached our high in the early morning hours, and we're going to see that temperature fall throughout the day. So that 35 is what's going to be in the record books. On the high end, we'll go to 33 by the 7 o'clock hour. We're going to go below freezing in the late morning, early afternoon hours. Then we're going to see temperatures right around 29, 28 as we go into the 4 to 5 o'clock time frame. As we get you ready for the bus stop. There you go, 33 degrees with cloudy skies by the time you get the kiddos ready for school. By the time they come home to do their homework, look at that, temperature right around 30 degrees with cloudy skies. That does it for weather. Ken, over to you.
Thanks very much, Eric. Meanwhile, in consumer news this morning, the Federal Trade Commission says Americans lost more than $2 billion in 2021 from imposter scams. A scam gaining popularity again has con artists convincing people they might go to jail. The FBI says they put out alerts warning that con artists are impersonating officials from a number of agencies, even texting or emailing fake badges to trick potential victims. They advise people to stay cautious of texts, calls, or emails that are asking for money, especially if they claim to be from law enforcement. Wisconsin cigarette sales are dropping. According to a new report, number of packs bought in Wisconsin between 2001 and 2020 dropped from 420 million to just under 193 million. The Wisconsin Policy Forum report says the statewide smoking ban, tax increases, and growth in e-cigarettes may have fueled its decline. So long Sierra Mist. Pepsi is pulling the lemon lime soda off store shelves and replacing it with a new soda called Starry. Despite 24 years on the market, Sierra Mist never cut into sales of its Coke counterpart, Sprite. Pepsi says Starry will be fruitier and more aromatic and will be caffeine-free and come in a regular and sugar-free version. Starry hits shelves nationwide this week. Food is fuel, and for some families, it's too expensive. School lunch debt is skyrocketing nationwide and right in La Crosse. The La Crosse School District guarantees kids have access to meals, but as News 8 Now's Dua Israr found out, their families remain on the hook for the bill.
$5.43 with all of our extra entrees.
It's the calm before the rush at Central High School.
We got a lot of good stuff here.
Nearly every student's favorite class.
Cheese bread today, got pizza.
I think there's just no disputing that a child at school needs to be fed.
But there's a heavy price tag hanging over every lunch period.
For the past 2 years, a pandemic-era program allowed every student to get free meals. But now that the program is over, schools are racking up debt over lunch.
We're seeing it increase exponentially.
This year's student lunch debt is already the highest it's been in more than 5 years.
We're just under $17,000, and we're not quite halfway through the school year.
La Crosse School's nutritionist Marilyn Bolden says because students need to eat, that debt will continue to rise.
Don't deny or withhold meals based on lack of funds.
The district has relied on community donations to pay off lunch debt, but that money is never guaranteed.
Budgets are tight, people are feeling it at home, and if students can't get the nutrition that they need at home, they come to school hungry, and hungry students can't learn.
Students can grab snacks and non-perishables from donor-funded food pantries located throughout the district.
I had students come in this morning when they saw that it was set up.
It's a short-term solution.
It can carry over from year to year.
Bolden says until there's more state or federal aid,
they will have to pay that if it's not cleared out by any other means.
Lunch debt is here to stay. Reporting in La Crosse, Dua Israr, News 8 Now.
Thank you, Dua. And in November, Wisconsin Democrats introduced a bill to provide universal free meals statewide, but it did not pass the Republican-controlled legislature.
All right, as you head out the door, we are seeing temperatures in the 30s across the Cooley region. Look at the temperature in La Crosse, 35 degrees. Feels like 27 out there. Winds are out of the north-northwest at 10 miles per hour. Your visibility is sitting at 8 miles. In Eau Claire, good morning to you guys. You're at 32 degrees. It feels like 25 out there with winds out of the north-northwest at 8 miles per hour. And we're seeing temperatures, with the exception of Preston and now Red Wing, everybody else in the Cooley region seeing temperatures in the low to mid 30s, but you factor in that feels like temperature. This is the number you want to dress for as you get ready to head out the door or you get the kiddos ready for school. Temperatures in the teens and 20s. The good news is we're warmer than this time yesterday. We're substantially warmer. 8 degrees warmer in Boscobel, 7 degrees warmer in La Crosse, 6 degrees warmer in Sparta, just a couple of degrees warmer in Eau Claire. So we take a look at the temperature trend. We're going to see temperatures hovering right around 33 degrees. We reached our high at midnight. Now it's at 35, so the temperatures are going to fall throughout the day. 33 is going to be our, let's say, early afternoon temperature. Then we go to the 20s on Friday, back into the mid-30s for your Saturday. So the radar scan right now, we're staying mostly cloudy across the Cooley region. We're on the back end of a low-pressure system. We're on the leading edge of a high-pressure system, and when we get in this type of pattern, it's going to cause those winds to really start to ramp up out of the north and northwest. Some places today could see gusts as high as 20 to even 25 miles per hour. And you can see what's behind this high pressure system, or what's responsible for this right there. Temperatures in the teens and 20s. 14 is the current temperature in Bismarck, 21 Sioux Falls. Rapid City's checking in with 18. North Platte, Nebraska, the Double Deuce is 21. Cheyenne, Wyoming at 21 degrees. And that's going to be our weather maker as we go into tomorrow with highs in the low to mid 20s. But for today, like I said, disregard this number. We've already reached it. We reached it in the early morning hours. Temperatures will fall throughout the day. We'll stay mostly cloudy as we go into the afternoon and evening hours as we head into your Friday to start the weekend. We'll start the day off with mostly cloudy skies. The clouds will dissipate as we go into the afternoon and early evening hours, and highs on Friday, only make it into the 20s. Low 20s towards Preston. Some of the outlying areas of Fillmore County may see highs in the upper teens. Decorah, you'll go to 25, 29 in Prairie du Chien, 31 Basketball, 25 Ladysmith, 24 in Eau Claire. So the details of the first warn forecast for today, like I said, disregard that number. We've already reached it. Temperatures will fall throughout the day. We'll see cloudy skies. Winds will be out of the northwest at around 10 to 15 miles per hour, gusting as high as 20 miles per hour. For tonight, we'll see temperatures going into the mid-20s. We'll stay cloudy throughout your evening and overnight hours. And real quick, the next 8 days. Look at this. We go to 26 on Friday, 34 Saturday. How about 40s for Sunday and Monday? Sunday night, Monday morning, keeping an eye on some precip chances. Then we hover right around freezing for Tuesday through Thursday. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in a few minutes. But first, here's a look at this day in history. All right, let's get you out the door really quick. We'll see temperatures right now in the 30s across the majority of the Coulee region, upper 20s towards Preston, as well as Red Wing. But you factor in that wind, which is starting to pick up at this hour. This is what you want to dress for as you head out the door. That wind chill in the 20s, even upper teens towards the Preston area. So the next 8 hours, like I said earlier, we've reached our high today. Our high is going to be at 35. We're going to see that temperature just fall throughout the day. By the afternoon hours, by the late afternoon hours, we'll see temperatures going into the mid to upper 20s. So definitely bundle up as you head out the door. That does it for weather. Rob Schiff, take it away, buddy.
Welcome to the Blitz. The UWL women's basketball team was getting hot as 2022 came to a close. Now the Eagles are on fire to open up 2023. They've won both of their games so far in January, 5 straight overall. And on Wednesday night, they were back at home looking to make it 6 in a row. Conference clash at Mitchell Hall, UWL hosting UW Stout. Pick it up first quarter. Eagles down but soaring back. That's Onalaska grad Kaya Steiner knocking down the 3. Lacrosse down just 1. Then it was the PDC grad catching fire. Gabby Ritchie rattles this one home. Eagles jump ahead by 2. And with time running out in the first, Olivia Arnbeck in the corner, spots up, drills the 3. Eagles up 1 after 1. Let's go to the second quarter now. Blue Devils battling back. Nice footwork in the paint from Haley Yeager. She scoops it off the glass for 2. Stout jumps in front by 1, but the Eagles claw back. Ritchie again providing the spark. Long straightaway 3 is money. UWL up 5 at the break, and the Eagles pulling away in the second half. Steiner all the way to the cup for 2 of her game-high 17 on the night. Then later in the third, Steiner this time finding CC for 3. You can count it. Eagles go up by 8, and Ritchie wasn't done. The junior dropping in 2 more of her 13 on the evening. Make it 6 in a row now for the Eagles. They get the win over Stout, 72-54. They improve to 14-2 on the year. Bucks in the ATL Wednesday night taking on the Hawks. All Milwaukee in the first half. Bobby Portis gets some space, knocks down the 3. Bucks up 21 at the break, but that lead goes bye-bye in the blink of an eye. Third quarter, DeAndre Hunter, Rainbow 3, cuts it to 11. Then in the fourth, 2-point game off the steal, John Collins coast to coast for the lay-in. We're all tied at 101. Then with 3 to go, Bogdan Bogdanovic hits the baseline jumper here. Hawks come all the way back and take a 2-point lead. But Brooke Lopez is going to silence the crowd. Wide open in the corner. Rattles home 3 of his 20 on the night. Bucks go back on top. And then Drew Holiday ices it. A game-high 27 on the night for Drew. Bucks hang on again. They get the win 114-105. That's going to do it for the Blitz. We'll see you tonight.
Welcome back to News 8 Now this morning. Good news for the Earth's ozone. It's on track to recover completely within the next 2 decades as ozone-depleting chemicals have been phased out across the world. That's according to a new United Nations-backed assessment. The ozone layer of the atmosphere protects our planet from harmful UV rays. If global policies stay in place, the ozone layer is expected to recover by 2040 for most of the world. The paper trail of classified documents is now a little longer for President Joe Biden. Biden's legal team has discovered a second set of classified documents. This development comes after the initial discovery in November of classified information at an office used by then Vice President Biden. Classified records are supposed to be stored in secure locations, and the Presidential Records Act says all White House records are to be given to the National Archives after an administration ends. President Biden says he does not support a ban on gas stoves. The White House announcement comes after a Consumer Product Safety Commissioner suggested to Bloomberg that he may take action to ban them. Pollutants from gas stoves have been linked to asthma, but more than a third of American homes have those stoves. The CPSC says it's not planning a ban, but it might seek emissions restrictions. Proactive and collaborative. That's how state and local officials are describing the security plans to protect our critical infrastructure. We're learning new information about the greatest threats to the systems and utilities we rely on the most. Jonah Kaplan has more now on what's at stake and why you can be a key ally.
In Minnesota and the United States, emergency managers identify 16 categories of critical infrastructure. They are considered so vital to society that their destruction or interruption would have a debilitating effect on Americans. Think transportation, finance, communications, and energy, the latter making national headlines for its vulnerabilities after vandals attacked 2 substations in North Carolina last year. Xcel Energy and CenterPoint Energy declining our request to speak on camera, but sending us statements promising both comprehensive security plans and resilience in how they respond to emergencies. The Minnesota Department of Public Safety, along with the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, providing strategic guidance.
Here's what's interesting about all these physical pieces of infrastructure we're talking about. The biggest threat, it's not to the physical spaces. It's what's happening behind the scenes. And that's why in Minnesota and beyond, cyber defenses are critical.
The biggest piece about cyber, in my opinion, is that the unknown. It's a constantly evolving threat.
John Israel is Minnesota's Chief Information Security Officer at the Department of IT. He took us inside the almost finished Security Operations Center, coming back online soon after going virtual for COVID. In 2022, the number of detected or reported cyber threats reaching at least 742, including dozens at county governments, schools, universities, and municipalities.
Generally, it's about money. It's about what's valuable that they can access and collect to monetize. But additionally, we see attempts to disrupt a message they're trying to send government, or just somebody that's trying to stir the pot.
The state secures data and information belonging to 5.7 million Minnesotans.
Now, last year, Governor Tim Walz signed an executive order requiring all state agencies to improve cyber defenses. Officials say we can all play a part in that by using strong passwords and multi-factor authentications. More snow might make our air problems even worse. The Minnesota Air Quality Alert was extended Wednesday for the majority of the state. Minnesota's Pollution Control Agency is calling this some of the worst winter air quality since 2005. Stagnant air and moisture from melting snow is trapping pollutants near the ground, creating unhealthy air for everyone. These are the kinds of symptoms people should look for.
Shortness of breath, kind of lightheaded, tickle in their throat, burning of their eyes. That's your body telling you that it's working extra hard to get oxygen in, and you should listen and kind of take it slow.
The Pollution Control Agency usually issues air alerts every year and a half, but having 2 days straight is quite unusual. The air quality alert is in effect until 6 p.m. today. Minnesota might have a solution to their drought problems, meanwhile. DNR climatologist Pete Boulay says snow piles are like layers of cake. All of the moisture is frozen on top of the soil. Once it warms up, the snow will melt and the water will seep into the soil. Now, until then, the snow is just waiting to quench the ground's thirst.
The ground isn't very hard. The frost is shallow, so depending on what happens the rest of the month of January into February, how many January thaws do we get, we could meter some of this, kind of frozen moisture into the ground.
Although a slow thaw is ideal, a fast melt could cause flooding. The water will then run off into rivers and streams, where it is also needed. The Wisconsin snowmobile season is underway, and so is the DNR's new safety campaign, Sled Safe. According to the DNR, snowmobiling crashes led to 16 deaths last year. The DNR says that people who are new to the sport should follow this rule.
It's always a good idea to mentor with somebody who has been snowmobiling for a long time. Kind of learn the ropes and get some experience out there with them, and then you can operate on the trails a lot safer.
And because of fluctuating temperatures, the DNR also recommends checking trail conditions and closures before you head out. Farmers spend thousands of dollars on tractors and combines, but for years, John Deere manufacturers told farmers they didn't have the right to make their own repairs on their purchases. Talia Mohildin shares how a new agreement is making a change and why many are celebrating.
Months away from celebrating 50 years in farming.
Mostly our tractors and stuff are over here.
Dave Smithback has been climbing into tractors since he was just a kid. He says a lot has changed in the decades since he bought his first piece of John Deere equipment with his dad in 1980.
We could fix these equipments ourselves. We know how to fix this.
And it's not because he doesn't know his way around his equipment. He definitely does.
We've got an 8330 over there, 95 R70. Then we park our semis in here in the winter also.
But when he has a problem...
First thing I do is call my local John Deere dealer.
But not every farmer is like Dave. Up until earlier this week, only Deere employees were allowed to make equipment repairs. But many farmers say they'd rather do the work themselves.
This is an issue that's been a priority for us for several years.
It's the reason farmers across the country are celebrating an agreement between the manufacturing company and the American Farm Bureau Federation, giving the go-ahead to make their own repairs.
Our farmers spend a lot of money and make huge investments in very expensive equipment.
But there are some who want laws to make the changes more permanent.
Looks like it's a short-term deal to maybe calm the talk that's out in the countryside about not being able to pick or fix our own equipment.
Dave, he's putting his faith in John Deere.
The professionals are still better than the guy that doesn't know what he's doing.
And with this change, farmers will have access to John Deere diagnostic tools and product guides to their own solutions to equipment failures. Wisconsin's governor is meeting with people statewide as part of his budget writing process. Wednesday's latest meeting was virtual, but next week, Governor Tony Evers will hold similar in-person events in Superior and Eau Claire. The governor is scheduled to deliver his budget address to state lawmakers on February 15th. A Viroqua farmer is joining the Wisconsin Natural Resources Board. Governor Evers has appointed Paul Burr to the board. Burr owned and operated an award-winning dairy farm for 47 years. The governor says he's a strong supporter for land and water conservation. Now, Burr currently serves as the governor's appointee for the Wisconsin Technical College System Board, so he'll resign from that position before beginning his new role on the Natural Resources Board. 2 caregivers on each side of the Wisconsin-Illinois border are coming out of retirement, compelled by the Supreme Court decision to overturn Roe v. Wade and joining forces for abortion access. Now, the goal is to help people in the area get treatment where it's still legal. They opened a new clinic in Rockford, Illinois just last week. And Talia joins us again for another piece.
Leadership at the Rockford Family Clinic started planning for this facility as soon as they realized Wisconsinites were at risk of losing abortion access. Now, with their doors officially open, they say the calls for help are pouring in. For Meg Larkin, being a caregiver her whole life comes naturally.
What gets to me the most is that there are people in need.
So when she was asked by a former colleague to step in as center administrator for a new medical abortion clinic in Rockford, Illinois,
I said, sign me up.
The request came from Madison-based Dr. Dennis Christensen.
I felt compelled, because I've been doing this for the past 50 years, to try and ease the burden on the patients that I had been serving.
Since June, Christensen had been working to open a place that would provide pill-based abortions to people in Wisconsin, even paying out of pocket to make it happen. Why make that commitment?
Well, it seemed the quickest way to get it done.
Last Friday, Rockford Family Planning saw its first patient, but getting to that point meant dealing with some community pushback.
Basically, Illinois has become a death destination
for people from other states.
For months, members of the Rockford Family Initiative, an anti-abortion group, have been protesting the clinic in part because of its location.
It's just not fair to the people who live in this residential neighborhood to have this right next door to them.
But for clinic leaders, that hasn't been an issue. They say the community support is there, and that when it comes to providing abortion access, opposition just comes with the territory.
There is something extremely fulfilling in being able to do something that is so meaningful, even if it does mean you work in the trenches.
And construction is underway for a second clinic that will add surgical abortions to Rockford Family Planning's care options. Administrators say if all goes well there, they expect it to open in April.
All right, here's a look at the next 8 days. We'll see a high of 33 for today. We actually reached our high. It's actually 35. We reached it at midnight. Temperatures are going to continue to fall throughout the day. That 33 is going to be an afternoon temperature. By tomorrow, we'll go to 26. We'll go into the 40s Sunday and Monday. We're going to keep the precip chances in the forecast Sunday afternoon and the evening hours going into Monday, and then mid-30s Tuesday through Thursday. Now, the next 6 to 10 days, let's go beyond the 8-day here. The next 6 to 10 days, we'll see temperatures above normal. Keep an eye over towards portions of Wyoming into Colorado where we have temperatures below normal. Usually when you start seeing temperatures below normal there, it's usually a sign of things to come, not so much the 6 to 10 or the 8 to 14, but within the next month. So we'll keep an eye on that. In terms of precipitation, we stay wetter than normal across the Coulee region, more so across the southern zones than the northern zones, but for the next 8 to 14, remember that dark red shading that was over us? It's pushing its way up towards the east. We're still above normal, barely. But you see over towards, again, Wyoming, over towards the portions of Dakotas, Colorado, they're still well below normal, and that is going up in terms of territory. But in terms of precipitation, the good news is we are staying wetter than normal. And after last year where we were like 5-6 inches below normal, at this point, we'll take what we can get at this point in time. Mr. Kozarowski, over to you.
All right, thanks very much, Eric. Time is now 6:40 a.m. Still to come after the break, one tennis star is going to be taking some time off for a new exciting challenge. That and more coming up in our Buzz Report in just a few minutes.
Here we go. As we help you plan your Thursday, we're seeing temperatures right now in the 20s and 30s, a mild start to your Thursday morning. Now, the reason why I'm showing you this right now, this 35, that's actually our high for today. We reached our high in the early morning hours. The temperatures will fall throughout the day. When you factor in that wind, this is what it feels like outside right now. Temperatures in the 20s, mid-30s towards Prairie du Chien as well as Boscobel, Decorah 22, 17 in Preston, 23 in Eau Claire. Regardless, we're substantially warmer as compared to yesterday. We're 7 degrees warmer in La Crosse, Viroqua 7, 8 in Boscobel, 2 in Eau Claire, 4 in Black River Falls, 4 in Winona. So here's look at your temperature trend for today. Like I said, the number 35, that's our high today. We're going to see those temperatures fall. 33 is where we're going to be in the late morning, early afternoon hours. Tomorrow we're going to go to 26, and then Saturday we're going to go back to 34 degrees. Keep in mind our average high for this time of year is 27 degrees, so that 26 for tomorrow is going to feel like where we should be for this time of year to begin with. So we're staying mostly cloudy at this hour, and we're going to continue that trend as we go throughout the day. And here's the setup. So we are on the back end of a low pressure system. We're on the leading edge of a high pressure system. When you get in this type of pattern, that wind really starts to usher out of the north and northwest. Some places today could see gusts as high as 15 to even 20, 25 miles per hour, depending on your location. But look at what's associated with this high pressure system. Cooler temperatures. Rapid City's at 18, Bismarck's at 14, Cheyenne's at 21, Glasgow, Montana's at 20, North Platte, Nebraska's at 22, Omaha is at 24. That's a sign of things to come for tomorrow, is that cooler air. So yeah, we will see temperatures staying in the 20s. Now, for today, like I said, take this number and just cross it off. We've already reached our high. We reached it around midnight, 1 o'clock for some of you. As we take a look at Sky Tracker, we'll stay mostly cloudy throughout the afternoon and early evening hours, and this trend's going to continue for your Friday morning. Going into the afternoon hours, though, we will start to clear out, and we'll see temperatures, though, only staying in the 20s. That cold air I was showing you earlier off to the west, yeah, that's our weather for tomorrow. We're talking temperatures in the mid to upper 20s, 26 in La Crosse as well as Sparta. Decorah, you'll make it to 25. Preston will make it to the double deuces. 28 will be the high, and Black River Falls. So the details of the first warn forecast for today. Like I said, that 33, that'll be our afternoon temperature. We reached our high at midnight. We'll see cloudy skies. Winds will be out of the northwest at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Some places seeing gusts as high as 20 to 25 miles per hour. For the evening and overnight hours, we go to 28 degrees by the 5 o'clock hour. We're going to hover right around the mid-20 degree range throughout your evening hours with mostly cloudy skies. Winds will stay out of the northwest between 10 to 15 miles per hour. We go to 34 on Saturday, 40s for Sunday and Monday, keeping a rain chance in the forecast Sunday night going into Monday. Then we cool off again as another front pushes its way through Tuesday through Thursday. We'll drop the temperatures to highs flirting with freezing. Ken, over to you.
Thank you, Eric. In our Buzz Report this morning, we now know why tennis star Naomi Osaka might have withdrawn from playing in the upcoming Australian Open. Yesterday, the 25-year-old announcing she's going to be a mom. Osaka posted on Twitter a picture of an ultrasound. She said in the tweet she is looking forward to watching her child watching one of her matches in the future and telling somebody else, hey, that's my mom. Osaka vows to return to the game, though, in 2024. The actor Frankie Muniz is reinventing himself as a race car driver. On Wednesday, the former Malcolm in the Middle star announced he'll be driving full-time in the NASCAR-owned ARCA series this season. Starting next month, Muniz will be behind the wheel for Rhett Jones, driving the number 30 Ford Mustang. The lifelong fan of professional driving will be behind the wheel officially February 18th. It is 6:47 a.m. and Eric, this is usually where we head to break with today's Look Who's 8, but no birthday submissions this morning.
Aw. Hey. If you know someone special turning 8 months, 8 years, 18, 80, or 88 years old soon, we would love to feature them.
Absolutely. Just upload their photo to our website, news8000.com. Look for the Submit Pictures button under the Home tab on our website. We'll be sure to put it on air. Stay with us. We have everything you need to know today in 5 minutes or less. Your Morning News Now is coming up next. Just about 9 minutes before the top of the hour, it's time for your Morning News Now. The governor is meeting with people statewide as part of his budget writing process. Now, Wednesday's latest meeting was a virtual one. Well, next week, Governor Evers will hold similar in-person events in Superior and Eau Claire. The governor is scheduled to deliver his budget address to state lawmakers on February 15th. A Viroqua farmer is joining the Wisconsin Natural Resources Board. The governor appointed Paul Bird to the board yesterday. He's owned and operated an award-winning dairy farm for 47 years. The governor says he's a strong supporter for land and water conservation. Bird currently serves as the governor's appointee for the Wisconsin Technical College System Board. He'll resign from that position before beginning his role on the Natural Resources Board. La Crosse's Common Council meets tonight at 6 p.m. One of the top items to be covered is the future of the Harry J. Olson Senior Center. Last week, the city's Finance and Personnel Committee considered a resolution to sell the building to the seniors for $1, but the city would still be able to use the building as a polling place. Now, that committee ultimately referred that to tonight's full Common Council. Sale negotiations on that building have been going on for 6 years. Tonight's posted agenda says the council could go into closed session to discuss the matter. And by state law, the council would have to go back into open session and announce any official action that's taken in a closed session. Demolition is underway along La Crosse's South Avenue to make way for some construction projects. Starting Wednesday, South Avenue went down to one lane in both directions between Green Bay Street and Ward Avenue. The DOT is warning nearby residents and businesses there will be loud noises and dust. This project will add 3 roundabouts along South Ave and is scheduled to wrap up this fall. The Wisconsin snowmobile season is underway, and so is the DNR's new safety campaign, Sled Safe. According to the DNR, snowmobiling crashes led to 16 deaths last year. The DNR says that people who are new to the sport should follow this rule.
It's always a good idea to mentor with somebody who has been snowmobiling for a long time. Kind of learn the ropes and get some experience out there with them, and then you can operate on the trails a lot safer.
Because of fluctuating temperatures, the DNR also recommends checking trail conditions and closures before you head out. La Crosse city planners are closing out the first phase of the Forward La Crosse initiative. The city got input from the public on things like housing, transportation, and economic development. 6.3% of the city's population responded, which is actually more than in most cities La Crosse's size. And that feedback will help plan the next few decades of work.
What we're really going to be doing with this information is develop themes and start developing goals and strategies and objectives, and then whose responsibility it is to make sure that we address over the next 10, 15, 20 years.
As they move into phase 2 of the project, city planners will still want public input. You can go to forwardlacrosse.org to learn more about the campaign, as well as take surveys about what you want to see in the city's future. You know, every once in a while we hear about people doing random acts of kindness. It's awesome. And the West Salem School District has a random acts of kindness account to support its students year-round. And on Wednesday night, West Salem firefighters got behind the bar at the Westview Inn to help out. They are donating all of their tips to the district's fund. And that money is used by school counselors to buy things students need that their families can't afford. And the counselors say they are very grateful the community is willing to contribute. Now, for the first time, we are seeing the proposed additions to La Crosse's Kids Cooley Playground. The Parks Department released the blueprint Wednesday night at a public input session. The playground, located in Myrick Park, is roughly 25 years old. Last year, after receiving public feedback, the city decided to update the current playground. This year, it plans to add some new features. The proposal includes zip lines, in-ground slides, climbing structures, and a shade canopy.
We're hoping for positive feedback, but we're hoping for all kind of comments and feedback on what what the community wants to see.
I'm in favor of the zip line for sure. Wednesday night's meeting was the only public input session the city has planned, so if you didn't make it, you can still call or email your comments to the Parks Department for the rest of this week.
You know, Ken, as your favorite meteorologist, I'm happy to deliver to you a nice, somewhat decent 8-day with temperatures above freezing for the next 7 out of 8 days. Friday will go to 26. We'll go into the 30s on Saturday, 40s for Sunday and Monday, mid-30s Tuesday through Thursday.
And I hope people know what you're referring to when you hacked my Facebook account yesterday.
Who are you again?
Oh, you know. You go to the restroom and you just can't trust your coworkers to stay off your computer. But of course, some former meteorologist, Isabella Hulsizer, who you all may remember, got in on it. That was a fun.
And even Bill did.
And even Bill did.
Jeez.
Everybody's competing for my affections, I guess.
Gonna hang my head and shit Mr. Kozrowski.
That's Eric Dean stepping off camera in shame. That's fake shame. Oh, man, we are just having such a ball this week with you on the morning show. Thank you.
I could be here.
It's never a dull moment here. Definitely logging off my computer, though, when I leave.
No, you're not now. So.
Not now, but I'm going to be guarding it like a hawk. The dude's a thief of identities. That's Eric Dean. I'm Ken Kozrowski for now, until he hacks my Facebook again. Don't forget to keep up with the news of the day on our website, news8000.com. We will see you during our noon show, and have a great rest of your day.
Good job.
You too.